Our first story is California's implementation of a radical, extreme sex education curriculum. Now, we have been talking about this in pieces for a long time, but now we've got some more information about it. This California Board of Education implemented progressive sex and gender education curriculum in public schools now across the state, regardless of parental knowledge or even parental consent. Progressive groups, including Planned Parenthood, lo and behold, collaborated on California Bill AB 329. Is back in 2016, but it's all weaponized now. It's all implemented and The Death Star has been built. And the recently introduced health education framework. Both of these pieces of legislation now mandate that school districts require sex ed and encourage students to question their parents on sexual topics. So we're weaponizing these little critters, sending them back to mom and dad, and demanding to see what's vibrating in mommy's desk drawer. That's what's happening now. Topics explored in the kindergarten through 12th grade sex education curricula are all being implemented now in California schools.
So we had one parent named John Andrews of the Murrieta School District. In his specific school district, they decided to pick their curriculum as the Positive Prevention Plus sex ed curriculum. Doesn't that just sound good? Positive Prevention Plus. And this curriculum contains explicit photos and drawings of sexual activity. And we have images that you can actually take a look and see what it is. Well, there it is. Look at that little boy. He's sleeping in his bed, and he can learn about penis perils. Number 2, bendy ones. Well, isn't that a great image?
Yeah, you're really taking time in California public schools to describe the fact that the male apparatus, the male genitalia, might curve or bend or lean to the side. This is the kind of stuff that they're doing. And what always creeps me out is they're always showing pictures like that. They're drawing pictures of little boys and little girls in beds and on the backside of couches doing all sorts of things like this. Really creepy stuff. And that just goes to show you, too, this is not pitched for just college or high school juniors and seniors. I mean, this starts at kindergarten, this paradigm, and works all the way through high school.
Well, and one thing is this parent, John Andrews, he said, they talk about anal and oral sex as an alternative to regular sex because you can't get pregnant.
Let me stop you there for a second. This is a direct quote, right?
Yes.
They talk about anal and oral sex. They don't talk about it. They promote it.
Yeah.
What they're basically telling kids is, hey, if you want to avoid pregnancy, right, if you want to avoid that, consider anal intercourse or oral sex. So they're recommending this as, quote unquote, a less dangerous, less potentially consequential form of sex.
Yeah, and we want you to take a look at a video, a very short clip of something, a very specific example here. It happened at the Riverside County Board of Education public meeting, and there was training happening with members from American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU, and it was an undercover video, and it's them explaining basically how districts can cut out parents from this whole process. So listen to what the ACLU attorney Ruth Dawson had to say.
Regardless of how old the student is, they can walk into a doctor's office and consent to these services without parental consent. Those services are pregnancy and prenatal care, contraception and emergency contraception, abortion, and so for these, there's no parental notification. I think a good way to think about all of these are just services that California has decided are so important that we're going to allow minors to be able to go into a doctor's office and consent to these services because they're just that important, and students really need to be able to access them. And they're very sensitive in terms of a lot of times students don't want to talk to their parents or guardians about these kinds of issues.
Why is the ACLU involved in what these why is Planned Parenthood involved in how this works in public schools? But they are. Can you imagine if the National Rifle Association and Lila Rose's pro-life organization was using public school time and money and facilities to promote their own particular brand of things? Here's why we got to have gun education for kids as young as 5. Here's why we've got to have a pro-life. This would be a front-page news scandal.
Well, and what just happened at Planned Parenthood with the president? She got kicked out for not being radical enough because, oh my gosh, she's a doctor, and maybe there was even just one little line she went across, and that's not good enough for them.
An Asian American minority doctor, female, in charge of Planned Parenthood, was fired because she wasn't adamant enough that men can get pregnant. This is healthcare in California, right? You can no longer pretend that what California does isn't going to affect you. You can no longer pretend. Planned Parenthood is subsidized to the tune of $500 million by the federal government of the United States in every state, across the country, right? The idea that you're going to avoid this, that your little school in Tennessee, or your little school in Louisiana, or your little school in Denver, Colorado is going to avoid this is utter nonsense. You have got to wake up and recognize that you fight this in California or you fight it in your Midlands, your homeland.